Oh, yeah! You know what time it is. That's right, it's time for the Eddie and Webby podcast! Yo, I'ma bust out some theme song action for you. Check it out. The Eddie and Webby show is the place to be. They're talking about beer and pickleball and technology. So if you didn't know, now you know. 'Cause it's time for the Eddie and Webby show.
On today's episode, Eddie and Webby play strip poker. This is the Eddie and Webby podcast.
It puts the lotion on the skin unless it wants the hose again. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 76th podcast.
Oh, yeah, episode number 76. And,
That's
wait a
right.
minute, something seems off here, doesn't it?
It does seem a little bit off. What is going on here?
Well, this is our Halloween episode, and as you can see, I'm really Eddie, and I'm dressed up as Webby.
And I'm really Webby, and I'm dressed up as Eddie. See, I've got my hat backwards. I've got the shirt that you all might recognize from the Eddie versus Webby 6 match, where Eddie had my image crossed out here. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys couldn't tell the difference between us, but surprise, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody. I know Halloween's only in a couple days from now, but we haven't really done a lot of holiday-themed shows except for the Christmas one, so we thought we would mix it up, and we gave you a treat or a trick. Actually, both. It's kind of a trick and a treat. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, I agree. This was incredible. We have such a huge budget here for our costume department. They went all out. This was amazing stuff here.
That's right. Well, speaking of amazing, we do have an amazing show for you tonight. We have a special guest that we have really been, super excited to have on the show for a long time, and I'm glad it finally worked out for him to be able to come on. After the show, don't forget, guys, we're going to be taking the stream down and coming right back with Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby, where you could potentially be live on the show. We'll talk about that more towards the end. And we are live, guys. We're live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And for the, let's say 4 people tonight, the 4 people that care, we're live on Twitch. Right? Twitch. Right, Webby?
That's right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Twitch Chris 2.0. Everybody on Twitch, thanks for joining us.
Yes. As I mentioned before, we do have a very special guest tonight. But before we get to that, I know the universe wants to know, Webby, what is going on in Twitter?
Oh, man. Twitter has just been off the hook lately. It has been blowing up like crazy, more than ever before. Let's check out a couple tweets here on the Twitter sphere. Here's one from Kelly K. Powski. I love the fact that Eddie and Webby had one of my favorite pickleball pros, Callie Smith, on their show. I especially love that she busted out in song during the show. Well, thank you, Callie. Great comment. And yeah, that was awesome. Callie was a great guest, and I still can't believe that she busted out in song during the show. Somebody left a message about how she has a good voice. I jokingly said, hey, why don't you sing a song for us? And she sang a song for us.
That's right, man. That takes some serious confidence to just bust out in song in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah.
She crushed it. She nailed it, just like she does in the court, too.
That's right. Yep, it was awesome. Let's do another tweet here. Here's one from Bert and Ernie Sanders. Since it's almost election day, can we vote to have the Eddie and Webby show canceled? It would most definitely be a landslide victory because they suck.
Oof.
Ouch. Jeez, that's
so mean.
That's
man.
brutal.
Why are people so mean? Stop
brutal.
being mean.
Right?
Bert,
Man.
Ernie, jeez.
Let's do one more tweet here. Here's one from Ronald McDonald Glover. Am I crazy, or did I actually see an Eddie and Webby commercial during the PPA live stream over the weekend? Well, Ronald, you are not crazy, because we did have a commercial that aired a few times over the weekend. And if you stay tuned to the show, we will play that commercial at the very end. You're not going to want to miss it. It was pretty fun.
Definitely a lot of fun. Those were some good tweets there, Webby.
Yeah, those were some good tweets other than the one wanting to vote to get us canceled. That one I could have done without that one, but the others were very nice. So thank you, everybody. Keep the tweets coming. We love the feedback. and we truly appreciate it.
That's right.
Well, what should we do next?
Should we introduce our guest?
You know what? I think that is an amazing idea. I think we should definitely do that. Super excited. Like Eddie said, this has been a long time coming. Today's guest has only been in the pro pickleball game for a few years now, but he made a huge impact right away and is now a household name. He's consistently on the medal stand alongside the best in the world at big tournaments all over the country. He's coming to us all the way from his native country of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Steve Deakin. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
This is awesome. Thanks for joining us. We've been wanting to have
well,
you on for a while. I'm glad it finally worked out.
Well, that's what I heard, So this is like your 76th episode, correct?
That is correct.
So that's going to mean that I'm the 76th most important person in pickleball.
Nah, don't look at it like that. Wait,
come on.
We wanted to save the big
so
guns
long? I don't understand.
Later. Well, if you think about it this way, if you were on any episode before episode 50, it probably would have only been seen by like 5 people. But now that we're so massively successful now that now we've got thousands upon millions of people that are tuning in. So
I'm starting to sweat already. Hang on, I got to get my game cap on here. Okay.
See,
nice. Now people can recognize me now, right? So
very nice. There we go. Yeah,
I'm ready, boys. Let's go.
You're going to need the game cap. We got a lot of hard-hitting questions coming, especially from your fellow pro pickleball players. So we'll be getting to that very soon. But I know we're just getting started, but I hate to say this. It might be a little unprofessional, but I can't really continue with this interview until I crack open a beverage and wet the palate. So I hope you guys don't mind if I do that. Are you okay with that?
I am very much okay with that. Go for it.
All right, I'm actually very excited about what I'll be cracking open. Yeah, absolutely. If you have something that you want to sip on today, go for it. What do you have there with you?
Well, you go ahead and introduce yours first.
Okay, I'm very excited about what I'm drinking. This is something. It's a brand new one from Founders Brewing. Something I got very excited about when I heard about it, and it's kind of fitting today because I know Canada is known for maple syrup, and this one is KBS Maple Mackinac Fudge. So I know it's more of a Upper Peninsula Michigan thing, but it's got maple in it, so I feel like that's close enough to being like somewhat Canada related. But man, this it's an imperial stout with Mackinac Fudge coffee, maple syrup, and chocolate aged in oak bourbon barrels. So
Yum.
I'm very excited to drink this one.
That sounds absolutely. What is that? It looks like mud.
It does have like a thick, muddy kind of texture. No, it's just it's a nice dark stout. It's very, very nice, thick, very, very thick, very nice, delicious looking and delicious smelling, and I'm assuming very delicious tasting beer.
Knock yourself out.
Well, what about you, Steve? What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I've got something that's a little bit more obscure. You can pick this up at your local grocery store. It's a happy hour soda tonic. Basically 33 grams of sugar and 20 milligrams of sodium. So for me, that's all I need to get through this.
Nice. Very nice. Well, cheers. What about you, Eddie? What are you going to be sipping on today?
So I drank my weight in beer over the past weekend in Las Vegas at the PPA event. So I'm taking a little break from it. And I found these that I'm interested in. It's actually Crook and Marker organic alcohol spiked. And it's supposed to be like a ginger ale, no sugar added, organic, vegan, non-GMO. It's all these like buzzwords for health. And it's only 80 calories with 3 carbs in it. So I'm excited to try this out to, continue to help with my getting healthier and losing weight initiative that I'm on.
Well, that's nice.
You're on one of those too, eh?
That.
Yeah, trying to, man. Trying to always stay lean,
I got a serious sugar problem, and it went from bad to worse when I was on my last tour. So I got to take a bit of a step back and really reevaluate things. So
All right. Well, yeah, it's definitely good to keep an eye on the health. And I kind of want to do a spoiler. I have a backup beer for later. I'm going to spoil it right now because it goes along with my role of being Eddie for the day for Halloween. Eddie is a huge hard seltzer fan, so I actually got also from Founders Brewing the Mas Agave grapefruit hard seltzer. So I'm looking forward to drinking that later in the show after I finish this KBS. But now that we got that out of the way, now that my palate is nice and wet, I feel like I can finally go through with this interview. So I feel like we should just go ahead and get the ball rolling here. Now, Steve, I know you've been interviewed a few times in the past year, but I'm actually very surprised nobody's ever asked you this question before. So I'm excited for you to reveal this to the world for the first time ever. But how did you first get into pickleball?
That's a question I've been asked tons of times. Come on. Have you guys not done your research?
What?
Well, I'll tell you the short version of it here. I was a tennis player in the past, and I had a fairly decent injury that kind of sidelined me from tennis for quite a while. And while I was rehabbing, my dad had asked me if I wanted to play this wonderful sport called pickleball. And I looked at him blankly and I was like, there's not a chance I'm playing this game. What is it? What is it all about? It's got the most ridiculous name I've ever heard. So I passed. I didn't go. And, the following weekend, he came to me again and is bugging me. He says, hey, let's go up and play some pickleball, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to go try it this time. And that's what I did. And the minute I stepped on the court, and up here in Canada, we were playing on this kind of hardwood floor, with those lighter wiffle balls and kind of these really Mickey Mouse paddles in a rec center. And I'll be honest with you, I never went back to tennis after that. It's probably one of the most exciting games I've ever played. It's so strategic and fun. And I can't believe I went that many years without even knowing about pickleball. So I literally fell upon pickleball by accident. So and here I am today.
Nice. That's awesome. And I feel like that's such a common thing, like for people that play tennis, like they just kind of like put their nose up when it comes to pickleball and just like, that sport is so beneath me. I'm not even going to try this crazy pickleball game you speak of. Have you found that a lot with like your tennis friends?
You wouldn't believe how many of my friends, they call it, the dark side. They call it, not a real sport. They call it, you might as well play Parcheesi. It's for old people. I've literally heard every single berating thing about pickleball and from all my friends. And, I've got such a good group of tennis buddies that I know would be just fantastic at this. And to try to get them, motivated to play this, it's a tough one when they're all healthy and still playing some pretty good tennis. But I pretty much tell them, if you play pickleball, I would be 100% certain you're not going to go back to tennis.
Nice. Yeah, and I feel like I hear that so many times too. The people that do finally give in and play pickleball, a lot of people are like, see you later, tennis. I'm sticking with pickleball now. I feel like I hear that a lot. So yeah, that's one of the things I love about pickleball. Like it seems like almost anybody that has any like the slightest bit of a competitive side to them just gets hooked immediately. It seems like that happens like in pretty much every case. But
yeah, like I can't tell you how much I love the sport and just it's incredible, how strategic it can be. And you don't really, think of that when you're watching it. Like I watched a ton of YouTube stuff when I first started playing and I was like, man, anybody can do this. It just seems so easy. But it isn't, and when you really start dissecting it at a higher level, there's a lot of little intricacies that I just love, and like I'm a student of the game, and I never stop learning. It's one of those things that I learn from loss, and I don't think you can ever master this game because there's just so many different aspects to it, matchups when you're playing with different partners, weather conditions, court conditions, temperatures. It's just incredible, and I love it.
Yeah, and I've told this to people many times. Like, the thing that I really love about pickleball is it's very easy to pick up and get into, but like you said, very difficult to master. And I feel like when that's part of the equation, it makes for just a great experience, because anybody can play it, but not everybody can get quite to that top level. But anybody, if they work hard enough, can. So I mean, it's awesome because you can just continuously grow and learn and get better. So it's just very great. Now, speaking about your tennis background, if I understand correctly, you were actually an 11-time junior tennis champion, and then after stepping away from tennis for a while due to a bad injury, you ended up becoming a senior tennis champion. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, no, I had a pretty decent junior career. Played a little bit of pro tennis from 16 to 18 years old. Had an injury which kind of knocked me out of the game, and I just went to work for a family business. And I didn't touch a racket, for a good 15, 18 years, and I got back into it in my late 30s, and started competing again, and was able to play senior team tennis for Canada. Was able to travel to a lot of the world championships, and be blessed with that. So it was very I loved it, and as I said earlier, I just don't think, if I didn't hurt myself, I would believe I'd still be playing tennis today, and I probably would have never have found pickleball. So I always think, everything happens for a reason, right?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yep, I totally agree with that. Now, when was the moment that you realized, you know what, I'm really loving this pickleball thing. I'm really good at it. Like, I should go pro, or like try to get into like the pro tournaments and stuff. Like, was there like a certain time where like it just kind of clicked with you and you're like, you know what, I think I can do this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. To say there was a single moment when I said, the light bulb goes off and says, yes, I think I could do this for a living. I could probably look back to March of 2019, and it's not a very long time ago. And I started having, some fairly decent results. Not a lot of players knew who I was. I was lucky enough to medal at all the majors in 2019, and I was still holding down a regular job as well, and that became quite hectic. So I made a decision at the end of 2019 to pursue this full time, and it's just allowed me time to train, time to travel, jump into the teaching end of things. So it was a big jump for me, right? I'm not a huge risk taker, and I always liked that steady paycheck. And at that age, I was 45 years old, making a decision to play a professional sport for a living. Like, what am I on, right? Like, there's pretty much not another sport on this planet that you could do that and compete with players a lot younger than you at the highest level. So I was very grateful for that. Overall, I'm happy I made this transition. It was the best move I ever made. You only have one life, and I took this huge risk, I felt at the time, and it turned out to be the best thing I ever did.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I personally think that it was a great decision. I mean, geez, like less than 2 years ago, you weren't even really dedicated to the sport, but now here you are, and you're definitely a household name. I mean, I feel like everybody that follows pro pickleball knows who Steve Deakin is. You're always on the medal stand, it seems like. So I think it was a great decision.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's definitely one that I'm thankful that I made, for sure.
Nice. Now, this seems like ages ago, but the very first and only time I've ever had a chance to meet you in person and see you play in person was at the Florida Grand Slam earlier this year. That was at the end of February. That was like right before the pandemic really kicked in and changed everybody's lives. But did you do any other tournaments shortly after the Florida Grand Slam, or was that pretty much like your last major tournament before the pandemic really kicked in?
Yeah, no, I think we did that Florida Grand Slam, and then wasn't the Mesa PPA after that, or was it before that?
Oh, I think you're right. I think that was. Do you remember, Eddie? Was that after? I think it was right after that, wasn't it?
I think it was after.
Yep.
Okay, and then I ended up doing this little tiny event in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Sports Festival, and that was the beginning of March, and that was the very last tournament I played before COVID hit.
Yeah, hopefully next year is much better than this year was, because this year was definitely devastating and pretty horrible for a lot of people. So hopefully we can finally get some normalcy next year.
Yeah, it impacted pretty much everybody in some capacity, and it was obviously for me absolute terrible timing. Leaving my job and basically having my business shut down pretty much before it really even started. Like I had every single camp I had in Canada canceled, and there was just a great deal of uncertainty, and I wasn't able to to travel and play, compete, build my brand. So it was kind of crappy timing for me, but we made the best of it here, and I was fortunate to get back out on court in September here. So I feel things will get back on track. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of the pandemic and like being in quarantine and stuff like that, I hear that Canada takes the quarantine stuff very seriously. Do you mind telling us a little bit about the process? Like when you come to the States for a tournament, like what's it like when you return back to Canada?
Right. So, and I knew this prior to coming down, and that's why I stayed down so long, because I was playing pretty much a tournament every week, where pre-COVID, I would fly down, play the event, and then go home, and then come back down again. We have a 2-week quarantine. So when we come back from the United States, we have to have a quarantine plan when we enter the country. And that quarantine plan is to get in your car, go directly home, and you're not to leave your house for 14 days. And I've heard that they do have the resources to kind of follow up and check up on you, so they can show up on your doorstep. And if you're not there, there's some form of fine they'll impose on you.
Wow. Well, let's focus on a little more positive things now. I want to say congratulations on your successful outing you had at the APP tournament recently in Hilton Head. You had some great performances there. I know you ended up with gold with Kyle in the senior.
Mm-hmm.
Not the senior, in the men's pro
doubles. I'm
not
there yet, guys. Come on.
Cool.
Sorry. You guys trying to push me out the door already?
Sorry about that.
I just got here. I just got here, man.
Yeah, the roasting isn't supposed to happen until later in the show, so I'll hold off on that kind of talk. But no, seriously, that was awesome. It was awesome watching you guys play at the APP event, and we actually have a quick clip we want to play from the final moments of your gold medal victory in the men's pro doubles with Kyle Yates. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
This is the rematch.
And there it is.
And there it is.
Great job there by Yates and
Battle.
Deakin.
Huge congrats to Steve Deakin and Kyle Yates, our gold medal winners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Mr. Princess. Take a seat. Hi. Sorry, I was pooping. Ew. I'm just a mess. It's gross. It's just weird. This is why I don't sing. He's got to put on some weight. He's way too small for me. Wow, double salmon fries, bro. Can somebody order that for me, please? That Mormon guy has a nice physique. It's great.
That was really well done.
Thank you. So you've been the victim of one of our bad dink reading videos. So congratulations.
I finally made it. That my career is complete. That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, I mean that's how all the pros in pickleball measure their success. If they've appeared in one of the Eddie and Webby bad dink reading videos, then you know you have truly made it. Isn't that right, Eddie?
You've landed. You've landed, correct?
That's right.
I'll consider it an honor then.
Well,
so what's going on social media, Eddie?
Yeah, actually, there's a comment from somebody from the team that you guys beat to win that gold medal.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
And it is from, he goes by Pat Smee, but I believe his name is Patrick Smith. And he says, looking good,
Yeah.
Stevie D. Must be all the Canadian meat you are eating. Tell Leroy to keep up the good work.
Yeah, Leroy was a good friend of ours in Cincinnati. You know, he provided us with all the staples at this gorgeous establishment we all stayed at in Cincinnati, this little town called Middletown. And I will highly recommend this. It's called the Red Roof Inn, and if you guys want, you know, top-notch accommodations, I'm telling you that is the place to go. And ask for Leroy because he will take care of you.
All right, nice. Will do, definitely. So we actually have a very fun segment coming up. We usually don't do it till later on in the show, but we had so many submissions, and I want to make sure we get to them all. So we're going to go right to the action right now. And right now is a segment that we like to call Pros Asking Pros Questions. And I hope you're ready, Steve, because we got a lot of great ones. So buckle up.
Jesus. Okay. All right.
This first one comes to us from a true legend in the sport of pickleball, and that is Wes Gabrielson.
Hey, Steve, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well and hope you enjoyed your swing through the U.S. for a couple of tournaments. As you can see here, I am working in my classroom here after school. It's a little cold today, as you can see from the cap, but maybe not as cold as it is up north where you live. I've got a couple questions for you. Number one, when you were a student, what was your favorite class or favorite couple of classes when you were in school?
Man, oh man, that guy's grown a beard, eh?
Yeah, he is.
Man, it looks really cold up there. So he wants to know what my favorite class was. Okay. Well, that was very simple. You know, when I was in high school, I loved cooking. You know, because that's where all the pretty girls would be. So I ended up, you know, taking a cooking class and, you know, with one of my better friends, and we had a good time there.
Nice. That's smart. That is a very smart choice,
right?
It's
smart. While all the other guys were doing like mechanics and woodwork and metalwork, and you know, I was learning how to make pancakes. So ask me to change a tire, and it's not going to happen. So
nice. Well, that's not the only question from Wes. Let's go with question number 2.
Second of all, when you were in the States for the month and a half that you were recently playing in tournaments, what was the thing you enjoyed the most about the U.S.? And my last question, what did you miss the most in Canada while you were in the States? So hope you're doing well, my friend, and hope to see you on the court somewhere soon. Take care.
Oh, wow, that guy is a great guy and a really good friend, amazing competitor. I'm so lucky to have Wes for some tournaments next year, so I'm really excited for that. You know, he was asking about what I enjoyed about being in the U.S. and that one was really simple for me. It was getting back to competing again. It was reconnecting with all my friends in the pickleball world that I hadn't seen in some months. So we were all very careful and made sure we were responsible about our socializing. But I just I missed the competition, and that's what I really thoroughly enjoyed the most. And I guess what I missed about home in Canada was a few things. Obviously, I miss my wife very much. You know, my kids, and most importantly, I miss that nice, warm, comfortable bed and a home-cooked meal. Because I'm telling you, eating out for like 55 or so days straight, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it got pretty old pretty quick.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Nice. Well, thanks for the questions, Wes. This next question comes from a few of our favorite members of Newman Nation, and this one comes from Riley, Lindsay, and Baby Cora.
Hey there, SDP. This is Riley, Baby Cora, and Lindsay.
Cora and I were wondering, what are you going to be this year for Halloween?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Lindsay. Cora looks absolutely perfect, so a really huge bonus for them. For Halloween, wow! Like I really love Halloween. I used to really decorate the yard, and I used to dress up for the kids that would come, and we'd give candy out. I was always a big fan of wearing that Michael Myers blue jumpsuit with the the hockey mask, and I would kind of lurk in behind the trees, and when the kids would come up for the candy, I'd jump out of the out from behind the tree and really freak them out. And that's what I'm going to miss this year, because there is no Halloween this year in Canada, so I'll miss that. But yeah, definitely something to do with a horror picture. That will be me.
Nice. Now, I hate to do this because you're our guest, but the horror movie nerd in me needs to correct you. It's Jason Voorhees that wears the hockey mask.
Sorry.
So
but Michael wears the blue jumpsuit, does he not?
That's right.
And
Yeah. Michael wears the blue jumpsuit.
Yes.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
He has a white mask.
Actually, it's a white William Shatner mask, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that somewhere, that the mask that was used in the first Michael Myers movie was a William Shatner mask. And if you go back and watch it, you can kind of see it. Like, I feel like you can't unsee that once you know it. So go back and watch the first Halloween movie with Michael Myers and think of William Shatner, and you'll see it. You'll see it in his face.
I was close.
Yeah, you're very close. I'm sorry. I just the trolls watching wanted me to do that, I bet. So.
Oh my god.
But anyways,
unbelievable.
but I do have a follow up. I do have a follow up question to that, and that is, are you sad that Lindsay did not name the new baby after you? Because I know when Lindsay was on the show, you asked if she was going to name the baby after you.
Yeah, we had talked about that, and I would have thought like Stephanie sounds so nice, Stephanie, anything, but Cora is amazing. It's a pretty cool name. So it's okay.
That is a cool name.
I forgive her.
All right. That's good. But that wasn't the only question from that group. Let's go ahead with question number 2 from Newman Nation.
And my question is, after all your big tournament winnings, where are you going to treat Stacy to a vacation to?
Oh boy, I think we've already touched on that. I took her to Hilton Head. We've both never been to South Carolina. We were able to at least spend some of the time on their beautiful beaches there. So it was Hilton Head, guys, and that's where we actually celebrated our I think it's 12th wedding anniversary.
Oh, very nice. Congrats.
Thanks.
So this next question comes from somebody that we actually haven't seen a whole lot this year. Somebody that I have definitely been missing on the pickleball courts in the top pickleball tournaments. And this one is coming from Anna Lee Waters.
Hey Steve, we saw in a recent video that you're a huge sugar fan, and I am too. So I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite sweet treat?
Oof. God, how much time do we have on this?
You can name them all. Let's do every single one in alphabetical order.
Well, that's a really good question. Like, I like, sour keys. I love those. I can eat those until I get blisters on my tongue. I like any sort of like black licorice, and anything to do with like chocolate and caramel. So like those things for me are incredible. The odd time I'll, probably bake a cake. I love cake, I'm a big fan of peach pie or like a coconut cream pie or something like that. So yeah, that I've got a massive addiction to. So I literally have been without any sort of sweets for 3 days now, and I don't feel so good. So when will those withdrawals stop?
All right, well, thanks for the question, Anna Lee. Now, we can't have a question from Anna Lee Waters without having her women's doubles partner, Lee Waters, chime in with a question. So here's a question from Lee.
Hey, Steve. Hope you're doing well. So, I'm wondering, since you're Canadian, are you a big ice hockey fan? And I'm also wondering, did you grow up playing any ice hockey as a kid?
No, that's a really good question. sadly enough, I'm not a huge hockey fan. I'm a bit of a bandwagon guy. So if our team is making a playoff run, I might start watching. I never played any form of ice hockey as a kid, but of course played a ton of ball hockey and stuff like that. So I might have failed as a Canadian for you there, Lee, but I'm not a huge hockey fan.
How's it going, Eddie?
Good. This is kind of a follow-up question to that, and this is actually from our friend Laura McLaughlin, and she wants to know, what Canadian stereotype is totally true about you?
Good question.
Oh, wow. That is a good question. Well, I guess I say the word a lot. You know, that's probably one where a lot of my friends will always make fun of me for saying that. But aside from that, I can't really think of another stereotype other than, you know, the a.
Nice. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's actually a drinking game going on, and every time you say "a," people are taking shots. But at my count, I think you've only said it 3 or 4 times so far.
Hey, who's doing that?
I think I might have just made it up just right now, but I wouldn't doubt somebody's doing it. And if not, if you rewatch,
Wow.
yeah, I feel like I should have.
I'll make sure I say a few more times.
All right.
Oh man, yeah, I would have been in trouble if I was playing this game for sure. But the beer I'm drinking, this KBS, it's strong enough, so I don't need to add any shots to the mix. That's for sure.
Are you still on your first one?
I am still. It's an 11% beer, so I'm like drinking it nice and slow. I don't want to. I've learned from past mistakes during podcasts that if I drink these super smooth, strong beers too fast, that the second half of the podcast, my speech is a little slurred and my questions don't make as much sense. So I learned to take it a little easy. That's right.
And that's why you saved me for the 76th episode, right? so you can get it right.
But the previous question from Lee, it had to do with hockey, and that kind of ties in with this next question. And this is actually a pretty exciting one because this next question comes from a former Detroit Red Wing who has actually won the Stanley Cup 4 times. And this question comes from fellow Canadian Chris Draper.
Hey Steve, Chris Draper here with the Detroit Red Wings. Hope all is well. First off, I'd like to comment on your sport, pickleball. Been playing it now for about 6 months, anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, up to anywhere from 2 to 3.5 hours a day. So something I'm really enjoying. I have a question for you. Rivals. Rivals are obviously big in my sport, and I'm curious to know, who would be your biggest rival? Who is somebody that you really look forward to, you can't wait to play, and knowing that it's going to be an ultra competitive game? Look forward to your answer. Thanks for your time.
Holy cow,
awesome
that's super cool. That is so awesome. Chris Draper. I've got one of my best friends is a huge, I'm talking huge, epic Detroit Red Wings fan. So he'll be very jealous that Chris Draper asked me a question.
Nice. And I got to tell you, he and Dan Cleary are 2 of the most passionate people I've ever talked to about pickleball. They were on our show a couple episodes ago, and it blew my mind how passionate they were. Like they are loving this sport. They play, like you said, at least 5 or 6 days a week, sometimes 2 or 3 hours a day. So I mean, it was awesome to see how passionate they were. And thanks Chris for submitting that question.
Yeah, that was an awesome question. You know, for me, I've got a fair amount of players that I truly enjoy playing at this highest level. But you know, this is going to come to pretty much no surprise, I don't think, to anyone, and most people know this. Anytime I step onto the court with a young fellow named Ben Johns, you know, my adrenaline always kicks into another gear. When you are playing the very best in the sport, it's a huge thrill for me, and I truly love competing against Ben. And also, if Ben is watching, I'm going to look into the camera and say, I'm coming for you in 2021.
Nice. You hear that, Ben? He's coming for you. Better watch out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like we were talking about before the show, I'm like a borderline 4.0 on a good day. And I absolutely love playing people that are way better than me because it definitely brings out the best in me. Because if I can play against a 3.0 player and my game will just be garbage. But if I play against like a 4.0, 4.5, even if I'm lucky enough to play against a 5.0 player, it just brings out the best in me and I do way, way better. So I can definitely agree with that.
It doesn't matter what skill level you are. If you're playing even a 3.0 and you're playing a 3.5 or a 3.5 playing a 4.0, like you said, it's comparable, right? And you always want to be able to challenge yourself as a player, and that's how you would do it, is by playing players that are better than you. That's how you learn.
Oh, for sure. Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. This next question comes from somebody who has become a very good friend of ours in the pickleball world, and that is the one and only Irina Tereshenko.
Hi guys, Irina Tereshenko is here broadcasting from sunny Tucson, Arizona, but it might as well be Russia or Canada because the temperature is going to drop to the mind-boggling 32 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, which is 0 Celsius in Russia and Canada, in case you're watching. So, cold weather always makes me think of our special guest, Steve Deakin. Hi Steve, how's everything in Canada? I hope you're staying warm. I do have a couple of questions for you. Number one is I'm looking forward to playing the PPA Toronto with you. And of course, you're a gentleman and you will always try to make your partner feel comfortable and learn about the culture of Canada. So what are some of the activities that we can do to learn more about Canada and get comfortable and perform well at the event?
Yeah, no, I'm fortunate enough actually to be playing that PPA Toronto Cup with Irina in I believe it's in August at some point. That's a really good question, Irina. I may take her up the CN Tower. That's a pretty awesome place to go. There's a ton of amazing food in Toronto. And if Irina likes hockey, I could take her to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Nice. Very nice. That sounds awesome. I would love to go to that tournament. I've never been to the Toronto area, so that'd be an awesome one. Hopefully I can work that out. There's so many places I want to travel to next year. I'm hoping it's all good to be able to do so and nothing gets canceled. So hopefully that'll happen. But as Irina said, she had a couple questions for you. So here is question number 2 from Irina.
My next question is, while you spent a few months on the road competing in the United States, what was some of the food that you missed from Canada? Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Oh, that's another good question because I love my food. Like I found when we were traveling, I was having a tough time finding, decent, like home cooked meals, just your basic, steak and potatoes, like a really good steak, right? I just found that some of the cities we were in and the people that I was traveling with, they were happy to go get burritos at Chipotle. So you can get sick of salad bowls after a while, right? So,
oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. Like that's something that you just can't replicate when you're eating out all the time, is like a nice home cooked meal. Because like no matter where you eat, like maybe some like super fancy expensive places might come somewhat close, but there's just nothing that compares to home cooked meals. So yeah, that's a great point you bring up about that.
I'm a huge I love things like prime rib and steaks and really good chicken, barbecue chicken. Although I did have one fantastic meal when we were in Texas. Joey Farias and I went on the last day to this hole in the wall barbecue spot, and it was just the weirdest thing. We had no idea, where we were going. We just searched barbecue. It took us to this little hole in the wall. And it was probably some of the best barbecue I had ever had. And so that, I will admit, was a very good meal. And I do like brisket, so it was tasty.
That's something else I found. Like, if you can find the right hole in the wall type place, sometimes they have the absolute best food. Two places come to my mind. There's a place in Detroit that has some of the best Mexican food I've ever had in my life. And then in the town that I live in, it's actually inside of a gas station. A little tiny place in the corner of this gas station makes Mediterranean food. And I kid you not, it's some of the best Mediterranean food I've ever had. So don't knock gas station food, everybody. Some of those places make really good stuff.
Well, I'm telling you, this place looked like a gas station, and it had like one little light on inside. I was like scared to go inside. It was just in the middle of nowhere. And we went in, and there was these three gals that just really treated us well in there, and they cooked us a really nice meal.
Very nice. Oh, that reminds me. There's one more place I got to bring up. In downtown Detroit, there's this liquor store, and way in the back, like you have to go in the store, and you can't even see this until you're like way deep in the store. But they have this area where they make fried chicken, and I kid you not, is the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. So
is that Moe's?
It's great. No, it's I think it's called Crispy Crunchy. I think it's a chain, but like this one, this Crispy Crunchy chicken that's like buried and hidden in this liquor store is some of the best I have ever had in my life. It's pretty crazy. But enough about the my food and hole in the wall experiences. Let's move on to the next question here. This next question comes from our previous podcast guest, Callie Smith.
Hey Steve, it's Callie. I wanted to know, because you're a pretty easygoing guy, what your top 3 biggest pet peeves are. Top 3 biggest pet peeves.
I like how it wasn't just your. I like how it wasn't your biggest pet peeve. It's what's your top 3 pet peeves?
Oh my God, that's gonna be hard. Oh boy, I know my wife's probably thinking I could think of 100 things that he thinks are his pet peeves, but gosh, that's good. I guess unintelligent people. Sorry, I hope that's politically correct, but I'm not a fan of people that are simple thinkers. I think doing things kind of halfway. So if you say you're going to do something and then you don't finish the task, I definitely don't like that kind of halfway thinking either. That's about it. I just can't really think of anything too much off the top of my head aside from those 2 things.
All right.
That's why Callie said I'm super easygoing, right?
Right. Nice. So this next question comes from, I think, one of the nicest guys in the world of pickleball, and that is Deckel Bar.
Hey, Steven. I hope you're enjoying the quarantine and some rest. I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, how do you always bring the best out of your partners? And the second is, what is your favorite hotel chain?
I knew that one would come up as well. Oh boy, you really put me on the spot today. I think from a partnership perspective, I've always been the type of partner who's been really supportive and always kind of committed to helping somebody through a difficult time. Because, like, let's face it, it's pickleball, right? And we're going to go through ups and downs on a match. The worst thing you can do to your partner when they're struggling is, do the eye roll or throw your hands up in the air and, just kind of give that negative body language. I just, I like to be there for my partner on court. And if they're struggling, I can usually tell when they are and typically take a time out and have a little chat with them and kind of get everybody back on track doing what they all do best. So that's kind of what I do when I can see a partner kind of slipping a little bit. And I've played with a ton of great partners as well that are, equally as supportive as, if not more than I am. So, that's pretty much what I do there. Now with the hotel chains, and Pat Smith touched on it a little bit earlier when I was chatting with him. It's definitely the Red Roof Inn. And for all the thousands of people that are watching this, hopefully, go check out the Red Roof Inn, especially the one in Middletown. It is amazing. The decor is amazing. It's clean, friendly people. It's one of those places where you truly can feel at home.
Very nice. And Lauren McLaughlin is tuning in, and she said Red Roof Inn. I already know, so she knew your answer. So this must be a common knowledge kind of thing when it comes to you and hotel chains.
It could be a tad bit of an inside joke with a big group, so could be.
Nice. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I have ever stayed at a Red Roof Inn before, but I'll have to go, and I'll say that. So I'm assuming you and I stayed at one?
We stayed at one in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's right.
So we did.
All right. So there was one instance, and I feel like I don't remember a whole lot of what happened during that trip. So that's probably why I don't remember staying there. But next time I stay at a Red Roof Inn, I'll be sure to tell them that Steve Deakin sent me. And maybe I'll get
and please think of me when you walk into that room, okay?
Oh, I will. I will definitely be thinking about you. All right, so this next question comes from definitely one of the all-time greats in the world of professional pickleball, and that is Lucy Kovalova.
Hey guys, hi Steve, this is Lucy. I just have one question for you. If you can travel anywhere in the world, either for vacation or to play pickleball, where would it be and why? Thank you.
Ooh.
Well, that's a really good question. I've always been a fan of tropical weather. So the white sand, kind of the blue clear water, the warm temperatures. So I would be a Caribbean guy for sure. However, there's also, like, I've traveled a lot with tennis, and I was always a really big fan of parts of South America and Europe too. There's just so many beautiful places to go. But if I had to choose one, it would definitely be, somewhere in the Caribbean, maybe Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, somewhere where, it's gorgeous and sunny.
Very nice. Very nice. So this next question comes from a good friend of ours. It's somebody that we had the pleasure of doing some live stream commentary with, and one of the voices of the APP Tour live streaming, and that is Dominic Catalano.
Eddie, Webby, Deeks, what's going on, guys? Just chilling down here in Sarasota, Florida, joining you guys for Pros Asking Pros questions. And obviously, since my boy Steve Deakin is on tonight, I'm dressed up in my red and white, as close as red and white Canadian colors I can get. My question to you, Deeks, tonight. First time we met, Nationals, a couple years ago. You walk in, some really sick threads, as always. My question to you is, up in Canada, where do you get those sick threads, eh?
I love that guy, and I remember the moment in particular. That's a really good question. I don't travel so much with those sick threads like I used to. I like to travel pretty light these days, but I was always kind of a name brand guy, so I would do a lot of shopping at, places like, Macy's, and I know the shirt that he's talking about too. I bought that at a little boutique in Whistler, and definitely overpaid for it. But damn, it looked good. So I was okay with that.
Nice. Well, this next question comes from somebody that you have a pretty good history with in regards to playing in pickleball tournaments, and that is Mr. Rick Witzkin.
Hey, Steve. Rick Witzkin here. Hope you're doing well, man. Glad you're on the Eddie and Webby show. Question for you is, what part of your junior tennis career would you say most helped you become such an accomplished pickleball player? And conversely, what part of your tennis game did you have to maneuver, navigate away from for pickleball?
No, wow, that's a really good question. And it's an easy one. For me, I was typically a singles player in juniors. That's where I felt I excelled the most. So when I started playing more doubles, in kind of my senior pickleball or tennis years. That's where the touch and the hands kind of helped with that end of the pickleball game, and I had to kind of he asked about what part of tennis did I had to adjust to play pickleball. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I had to basically remove like a lot of the power that I would have playing tennis. So, instead of that mindset of, pretty much crushing serves and crushing ground strokes, I had to kind of think about, the more strategic soft part of the game of pickleball and the patience end.
All right, nice. Great. That was a great question. Thanks for that, Rick. The next few questions are actually courtesy of our friend and former mixed partner of mine, Kim Bosch-Ruch, and she got all these while she was at the APP tournament in Hilton Head last weekend, and we're going to start off with one from Sarah Ansbury.
Okay, Steve Deakin, when is your anniversary?
This one could get you in trouble, so hopefully you know the answer.
Wow. I just started to sweat here. It's actually an easy one for me to remember. It's September 9th of 2009. So 09.
Nice. Well done. Very well done. Got some brownie points here.
Oh wow. That one was stressful.
Yeah, I'll admit it takes me a little bit more thinking to come up with the answer for that one, but you did a great job there. Nice work.
That was smart to pick that date.
Right?
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Yeah, did that play a role?
Yeah,
like when you guys talked about a date, were you like, okay, what's a day that I can remember so I don't get in trouble and don't get in the doghouse in the future? How much of a role did that play in your decision?
Not a very big one, but actually, I'm the guy that does remember the date. Stacy can sometimes forget the day and the odd time. So believe it or not, I'm the one that remembers.
Nice. All right, this next question comes from Regina Franco.
Hi, Steve. What's your favorite battle and why?
All right, that's it. Well, that's again another easy question. It's of course the head gravity paddle, and I just started playing with head back in August, and when I put that gravity into my hand, I just get a little more pop, a little more feel, spin. It's got that nice textured paddle face on it. I can't tell you how much I love that paddle.
Nice. So if you don't mind me asking, like how did that whole thing come to be? Like how did you end up partnering up with Head?
Well, it's one of those things in a pickleball career. You look at things from the business side of things, and I've always been a fairly large supporter of Head. I know a lot of the Head guys in Vancouver when I used to play tennis, and they're a fantastic professional company to deal with, and I'm thrilled to be a part of their team now.
Nice. I've got a pair of shoes from Head that I absolutely love. So yeah, I definitely know that they make some great products all around. That's for sure.
Head shoes are the only shoes that I wear. They are by far, in my opinion, the best.
I'm super picky with my shoes, and when I put on a pair of those like Head SF Sprints, like it's like I'm wearing a slipper, and I've got super like narrow feet, so they were by far one of the most comfortable pairs of shoes I've ever worn.
Nice. That's actually the pair that I have are Sprint, because I also have narrow feet. And the Head shoes are the only shoes I've worn for pickleball that I don't have to add an insert to, because every other pair that I've bought, I've got some Nikes, I've got a couple other different brands, and all of them I had to add like an insert to make them comfortable enough to wear. And like after adding the insert, they're super comfortable. So like you might see in some of the videos, I alternate, like every video I do, I have a different pair of shoes on, mainly because I want to get my money's worth out of all the different shoes that I wore. But the head shoes are the only ones that I haven't had to wear an insert with. And like I feel like they didn't even require much like breaking in like a lot of the other shoes do. So I can definitely attest that like the head shoes are very solid.
Yeah, I agree. I put them on and I can go play a match with a brand new pair right away. So that's unusual for a shoe.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, and I'm not passionate about shoes at all, but it was right after the 2019 Beer City Open. Christine Barksdale sent Webby and I both a pair of Head shoes, and I got to tell you, it was the best thing that she could have ever done, because since then I've bought probably 8 pairs of them because nothing else compares. I've tried others. And by the way, Head is not paying for us to say this. I'm just very passionate because they're by far the, I think I have the, the Revolt Pro is what I wear, and I love them. I'm not going to wear anything else.
Nice.
That's what we like to hear.
Nice. But yeah, I swear, like this was a very organic discussion. This was not planned out ahead of time. Head had nothing to do with this, so you're welcome, Head. So this next question comes from a good friend of ours who has also been on the show, Corinne Carr.
Hey, Steve, Mr. Canada. My question for you is, can you get me hooked up with Lululemon? It is my favorite thing about Canada.
Isn't it everybody's favorite thing about Canada? Now, listen, if I can't get on, if I can't get on with Lululemon, I don't think I can get anybody else on. I think I've tried a few times to approach them, and they kind of slam the door in my face when I say pickleball. So,
oh man, shame on you, Lululemon. Shame on you.
No, but I wear their shorts, and it's they're obviously the most comfortable shorts ever. So
nice. Well, this next question comes from the one and only Johnny Goldberg.
Hey, Steve, boxers or briefs?
Somewhere in the
question
middle.
We've all been waiting for. That's where we've been waiting. That's the one question. Boxer briefs. Okay, God, all right.
Boxer briefs. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's the only reason everybody tuned in. Like, I feel like our rate, like people are gonna stop watching now because you answered the one question everybody cared about: boxers or briefs.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm definitely a boxer briefs guy for sure. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, this is the last question from the APP group. It's not the last question of the segment. It's just the last question from the folks that were live. Yeah, we got a long way to go. I hope you got like another hour because we got a lot more to go through. But this is the last question from the folks that were live on scene at the APP event, and this comes from Rafa Hewitt.
Who's your partner for 2021, Steve?
Oh, man, he said that so intensely. He sounds like he's angry with me. Yeah.
Right?
Huh? Hey, guess what? It's not going to be you now. It's tough, right? Like I'm playing a ton of tournaments next year. I've probably got six different guys I'm going to play with next year, and 6 different gals, and I'm trying to narrow it down a little bit, because when I first kind of came into pickleball, nobody really knew who I was, and it was a struggle, to find partners. And I think in 2019 I played with 14 different guys, and it's just such a tricky sport for planning, because in tennis you make a commitment to a partner, you decide to play the whole year together. It's kind of different in pickleball, with exception to maybe a couple of partnerships out there. Everybody's got different schedules, and everybody's not playing all the tournaments. So you have to become a diverse partner to have the capability of playing with lots of different players. So it'll be a mix next year for me, with 6 or so of each, the guys and the gals.
All right. Now, the way that he asked that question, like, I feel like he asked you maybe even numerous times and he's been waiting for an answer. Is there any truth to that? Or
I think he's asked me for tournaments before where I already had partners.
Oh, okay. Nice. But one thing I've noticed you've had a lot of different partners throughout all these tournaments, but you always manage to do very well. So, I mean, that's definitely a testament to show how good you are and how well you adapt to other partners. Because, I mean, the fact that you don't have like a set partner that you play with every time, yet still have such good success, I mean, that definitely shows like how good of a player you are and how well you've done.
There are a lot of great players out there, and I know, with whoever I partner with, I feel that we always have a decent chance to hit a podium. Like, just the talent is so deep. So I can play with 10 or 12 different guys and feel like I have a shot to win the event. So it's a testament to the sport for sure, of how it's growing and how deep it's becoming.
Nice. And then I do have some breaking news just to show how good of a player Steve is and how adaptable he is to different partners. He has agreed to play with me at next year's Nationals, so I really appreciate that. And everybody better watch it. Or maybe that might have just been a dream I had. That might not be a reality, but you'll have to tune into Nationals and see. You never know what might happen.
You never know.
So this next question comes from somebody that you have a good history with, and that is Eric Lang.
Hey, Steve Deakin, Eric Lang here, enjoying a little Halloween spirit in Portland, Oregon. Hey, Steve, you play a lot of pickleball tournaments, and I'm sure there are many other spouses that are jealous of the fact that you get to get out there and tear it up on the tournament circuit. So my question for you is, how would you recommend a husband or a wife approaching their spouse and requesting to play more pickleball tournaments? Because clearly you've got that mastered. Thanks, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Nice. Holy cow. That is a definite hot seat question. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
There's a couple of things that got to happen first, and it's got to be the right time of your life, right? Like, I find if you've got like really little kids, obviously they take a great deal of time, and this is why me kind of playing pickleball now, was good timing. My kids are mostly grown. Stacy and I are pretty much empty nesters at this point. So, to answer Eric's question, it wasn't always easy. Like, I spent a lot of time on the pickleball court early on, and sometimes probably more than I should have. And Stacy will tell you this. Like, we did definitely have some challenges with it. And Stacy eventually decided, if you can't beat them, join them, and started playing pickleball herself. And now, she has her group that she plays with, and I have mine. So it seems to have worked itself out. But definitely, you have to tread lightly, Eric. Trust me. Don't go too quickly.
Nice. Yeah, that was an excellent question. I think a lot of us should take note of these answers that Steve gave us, because I feel like a lot of us are in the same boat and need to approach it like in the right manner at the right time. So good stuff there.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad I could help. But, marriage 101, right?
Well,
that's right.
It's very smart. There's a question I wanted to bring up before we get to the next Pros Asking Pros one. And this comes once again from our friend Laura McLaughlin. And she said, pretty sure Pat Smee should ask Steve if there was one part of him that was a little happy he got to play the Winter Soldier one-legged.
That's a pretty good question. It's funny. Pat and I seem to have played one another every single tournament on this last little swing, and I'm telling you, Pat is probably one of the toughest competitors you'll ever meet on a court. Anytime you step on court with him, he's dangerous. Was I happy that he hurt himself? Absolutely not. Was I a tad bit relieved? I would be lying if I said no. But
right,
I think once Pat got himself to the kitchen with Jay being all big and imposing, I found Pat was still pretty deadly. So it definitely was a relief, but I never want to see anybody hurt. And I was just utterly amazed at how the Winter Soldier there battled through and played on torn ligaments. It was pretty admirable.
Oh, for sure. And I was watching live when the injury happened, and man, it's very impressive how much he played after that point and made it to the gold medal match. I mean, that is extremely impressive.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Usually injuries like that, like when I think he injured himself in mixed, and I knew right when he stopped playing and he couldn't walk very well. I was like, I don't know how he's going to play the next day men's. I just don't know how. But he did, and it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I have a follow-up question. He got referred to as the Winter Soldier. Do you mind explaining, or do you know the meaning of that nickname by any chance?
Well, Lauren's going to know that better than me. She explained it to me in Hilton Head, and it had something to do with Marvel or something like that, which I'm not a huge fan of. So Lauren will have to comment on that.
So I think I can help with this. So there's actually a picture of him right now. We have a message from Pat, and it says, "Thanks, Boo." I'm assuming he's talking to me, so you're welcome. And his if you look at the picture, it's one of his sleeves is pulled up to where it like shows his whole arm. And in the Marvel series, the Winter Soldier, the character has one arm that is, I think it's like bionic or something like that. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that. Like the fact that he has one sleeve pulled up to his shoulder, he resembles the Winter Soldier from the Marvel comics, specifically the Captain America movies. He, aka Bucky from Captain America. So, little knowledge there for anybody tuning in. Hopefully, I explained that.
It's right. Knowledge. No, it was knowledge for me too.
If I got that wrong, I'm probably going to get attacked by the trolls, just like the trolls were going to come after you for the saying Mike Myers wears a hockey mask.
I'll take it.
All right, so we do still have a few more questions. Actually, I have a follow-up question for you to go along with the previous one from Eric Lang. Eric asked about the best way to approach your spouse when you want to do more pickleball tournaments. So speaking of spouses, your wife, Stacy, she didn't submit a video, but before the show, she did give me a question that she wanted us to ask you, and that is,
oh boy,
how many times a year do you load the dishwasher?
Oh boy, I'm going to look like not a very good person on this show by the time I'm done. It's minimal. I might as well tell you guys the truth. I've been telling you the truth the whole time. I would say it's probably a maximum of 10 times.
Okay, that's more than 3 times the amount that she gave me, but I'll just leave it at that. But I thought that was a great answer. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like you probably maybe even loaded it more than I did this past year.
Well, what answer did she give you? Obviously 3.
She said maximum of 3.
Wow, really? Holy cow.
What do you got going on your end, Eddie?
Well, I just wanted to confirm that, Webby, you were correct. And Lauren gave him the nickname partly because of the one sleeve rolled up. And someone first commented in Chicago with the robot arm. So basically saying you were right, Webby. And Pat Smith also came back and said correct. So I just wanted to let you know that you were absolutely correct with that.
Nice. As usual.
I'm
I
glad
shouldn't
we
have doubted
clear-
myself.
You're never wrong.
Yeah, I'm such a smart guy. Nothing I say is wrong ever on this show, so I should have known not to doubt myself. But anyways, let's go on. We got a couple more questions here. We're almost to the end here. This has been an epic segment. By far the most amount of asking pro question submissions we've ever had on the show. So you hold the new record for that. So that's something to be proud of. This next one comes from a Michigander and very good friend of ours. And she is one of the tournament directors for the Beer City Open. This one comes from Andrea Coop.
Hi, Steve. How's the weight loss challenge going? You're my motivation. We're here in Michigan. It's 40 degrees at outdoor spin class. We just got back. I know you're in quarantine now, so are you working out 3 times a day? Tell us about that challenge with Adam Stone. We need to hear about it.
Yeah. No, it was funny. Adam and I, kind of looked at each other when we were at the Arizona Open, and he was like, "Man, I think you put on a little bit of weight." And I said, "Dude, I think you've put on a little bit of weight." So I challenged Adam, before we're playing in the tournament together in Punta Gorda in January, and we made a friendly gentleman's bet that may have a bit of a wager around it, and it's who's going to be able to lose the most weight and add a little bit more muscle. And right now, I'm on day 3 of my new training regimen. I've been working out in my garage. I've rehired my trainer again, and I'm taking it seriously the next 9 weeks. So it's. I was just telling Stacy today how I'm sore every single day. I'm working muscles that I don't even realize I have. So it's I'm hopefully will be transformed in 9 weeks.
Nice. Well, good luck on that. This next question comes from another good friend of ours, Joey Farias.
Hey, Steve. Got a couple questions for you. Very, very important. So my first question is, what is your go-to post-tournament meal and pre-tournament meals, as well as what bacon is better, regular bacon or Canadian bacon? Thanks, Steve.
Oh, cow. Wow.
Man.
Those are actually really good questions.
Right?
So for me, like a really good pre-tournament meal, like in the morning prior to an event, I'm a huge fan of like a huge bacon and eggs and toast and hash browns and fruit and oatmeal and a coffee to kind of get my day going. And the post tournament meal, I've got a few. I sometimes will go for a simple drive-through at the Taco Bell, which I love. 3 tacos supremes with extra sour cream. And also we touched on it earlier. Joey and I went to this little, this barbecue place in Texas after we finished our event there together. And I just crushed like a brisket and rib plate. So anything with like tons of red meat on it. And I always seem to, obviously wash it down with about 6 Cokes. So that's no good for me anymore from what I understand. So I'm going to have to substitute that with something else.
Nice. And so the between Canadian bacon and regular bacon, what is the
Yeah. I'm a huge Canadian back bacon fan for sure. Only if it's cut really thin and cooked crispy.
Okay. So Canadian bacon, is that always, I know like if you get, I know sometimes McDonald's gives the Canadian bacon, it's like the circular shape. Is that how Canadian bacon always is? It's always like a circle shape like that?
Yeah, typically it's circular like that. It's almost like a big chunk of ham, but that's why because I don't like really thick ham. That's why I said, that really nice thin sliced Canadian back bacon is so good.
Nice. Man, I am so hungry. We've talked about so many delicious sounding foods tonight. I am so hungry right now. The
I want
bacon just
Taco
pushed me
Bell
over
and
the
bacon
edge.
right now.
Right? Yeah. Oh man, some Taco Bell with bacon strips on top. Oh man, that sounds really good. I'm sure that wouldn't help with the your Biggest Loser challenge you got going on.
No. There's been some modifications for sure.
All right. Well, we've made it. This is the last question for the pros asking pros questions segment. And actually, it's the last person. It's a two-parter. We have a two-part question to end things with. And this question comes from Lauren Stratman.
Hey, Eddie and Webby. Hey, Steve. This is Lauren Stratman. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, at home, chilling. And I have a couple questions for you, Steve. Number one is I want to know what your pre-match nighttime routine is and your before-match routine.
Holy cow! So a pre-match nighttime routine.
Yep. So the night before a match, and then right before the match.
Holy cow! Okay, well, for me, and probably everybody knows this. I'm a type of guy that will have a really big meal the night before, typically, and I'm the type of guy who will be in bed probably by 9 o'clock. I need to get at least 8 to 9 hours sleep before I have to get up on a game day. And what was the other question?
So that there was a two-parter. There's going to be another one coming up. The first one was just the pre-match nighttime routine, and then the pre-match routine, like right before the match.
Okay, yeah. So that one's pretty simple. Basically, it's a simple 15 20-minute warm up and tons of hydrating.
All right, very good, very good. So here is question number 2 from Lauren, and this is going to conclude today's pros asking pros questions. So here we go with question number 2 from Lauren Stratman.
And number 2 is if you were stuck on an island with one pickleball court and you had to bring 3 people, who would you bring? All right, see you guys.
Oh man,
Holy
putting you on the spot here. Ending with a barn burner.
Oh my God, that is the worst possible question I've been asked today. Holy cow. Okay. Wow. I just, here's the thing, as a Canadian, right? I truly love everybody, okay, that I play pickleball with. So this is going to be a very tough question for me. If I had to bring, I'm going to even go outside of the pickleball world here, and I'll say I'll bring my wife and my kids. That's the best possible. Oh, and don't forget, and my dogs,
right.
and my dogs. Don't forget my dogs. I'm going to bring my dogs too.
Nice.
That's going to keep me out of trouble. That's going to keep me out of trouble with the pickleball world, for sure.
Right. Well, again, very smart
That was
answer.
a tough question.
Nice. I wondered where you were going to go with that. I did not see that as the outcome, but smart. Very, very smart.
Well,
nicely done.
I think well on my feet, hopefully most of the time. So we'll go with that.
All right. Well, you did it. You survived the entire longest pros asking pros questions segment in history. And I feel like I don't even know if we're ever going to top that. Like we had so many submissions, and I always think like that just shows how loved the person is that's our guest. If we get that many people willing to submit a video question, that just shows how much that you are respected and well liked in the pickleball world. So I think that's something to be proud of.
Well, the feeling's mutual. Honestly, I've met so many nice people and good people while traveling and playing. And to touch on what I said earlier, I'm just super grateful for what I do and the friendships that I made. So I'm a pretty lucky guy right now.
Awesome. And I don't know if you see this message from Lauren McLaughlin below, but she said, "There's the Canadian nice guy thing, the eye roll."
Never.
Nice. Well, so I know you've gone on record as saying that your experience at the 2019 Nationals tournament was one of your favorite pickleball experiences and moments of your career. But what would you say is your favorite experience from this year? I know there wasn't a whole lot, but in 2020, was there anything that stood out to you as like your favorite moment that you can think of?
Oh gosh, I've had so many awesome moments playing with different partners. I think if I had to just put one out there, and there's just been so many. I really enjoyed playing against Ben and Simone with Lucy at Simone's tournament. Even though we ended up on the wrong end of that match a couple of times, it was probably some of the most fun I've had on a pickleball court. The competition was amazing, and I thought we all played really well. And I was happy to just be a part of that match. It was a ton of fun.
Nice. Yeah, I absolutely loved watching you play at the Florida Grand Slam tournament. It was so cool watching you, and then there was so much great talent there. That was an awesome tournament for me personally to be at, and it was the first time I ever met you, saw you play in person, and it was so cool, such an awesome experience. Eddie and I got to do the live streaming that whole time, and I feel like that tournament really put us on the map as far as doing live streaming too. That was such a fun experience. Got to thank Eddie for that. He's the man when it comes to live streaming, that's for sure. I was just kind of there. I was just a pretty face for that experience. He's the talent, really. But
I think that's where I met you guys for the first time.
Yep.
It was such a cool experience. Loved it. Loved every second of it. Who knew that was going to be like the last like big time tournament I was going to be at? I still haven't been to a tournament with pros since that one. So I've really I feel like I watch those matches over and over to relive the experience, because like I'm longing for the days when I'm back at a good big time tournament. So hopefully that changes next year and I can be at a lot more of them. But I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I just want to ask a couple more questions before we part ways. One thing I've always been curious of is like, what's the biggest difference that you've noticed between pickleball when it comes to Canada versus the United States? Like how does the pickleball scene differ between the two countries?
Yeah, there's obviously the depth issue. I find in the U.S. At this point, pickleball is much more developed than it is in Canada. But I'm telling you, Canada is starting to catch up, and there's new pickleball facilities being built, some gorgeous outdoor facilities with dedicated courts all throughout the country. Our numbers are growing substantially. I think once we can kind of get COVID behind us, there's going to be some pretty good tournaments being played in Canada. The competition is starting to get a bit deeper here. So I'm happy to be a part of Canadian pickleball for sure. And look forward to what Pickleball Canada is going to do to grow the sport down the road.
Awesome. Very cool. So another thing I wanted to ask you about is I saw on Facebook that you actually started offering a match analysis service. Is that how's that going for you? And do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, like we're just still kind of ironing out some of the bugs with that and getting that up and running. It's something that we came up with obviously during COVID, somewhere where I can still reach out to some of my clients, across North America, and be able to offer, some teaching and coaching for them. It's like any business, it starts, fairly slowly, and then it'll gain some traction. So once we get the bugs worked out with that, I think it's going to be a pretty big part to my business.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's definitely a market for that. And I personally, I wouldn't mind taking advantage of that myself. So you might actually see see me submit a video for you to do a match analysis in the near future, because I'm always trying to get better. I always want people to critique what they're seeing in my game and stuff. I know I cringe every time I watch myself on video. So
Yeah, you have your hands full, Steve, if he submits you a video,
right?
by the way.
Yeah. So when you you go by frame, because if so, like it'll probably last about 5 hours just for one match.
You're gonna have to charge triple for that one.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. One
awesome.
match would probably be worth like at least 4 matches for anybody else, but whatever.
I'm sure it's not that bad, guys. Come on.
It might surprise you, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But man, we cannot thank you enough, Steve. This has been awesome. Like I said, the pros asking pros question segment, by far one of the best we've ever had. I absolutely love it. But before we part ways, I want to give you a chance.
There was definitely a lot of hot seat questions there, right? So it
right?
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it.
So it was a ton of fun.
Nice. But before we part ways, I do want to ask, like, is there anything you want to tell everybody tuning in, whether it be how they can follow you, the best way to get in touch with you, to like if they want to do a clinic that they're hosting or anything like that? Now's the time. The microphone is yours.
Yeah. Once we get back on track here, I'm hoping you guys can, obviously follow me on Facebook, Steve Deakin Pickleball, and also on Instagram at Steve Deakin Pickleball. And obviously, I've got a pretty decent website out there right now, stevedeakinpickleball.com. That's where you're going to be able to see where and when I'm going to be back doing these larger clinics again. So those 3 platforms are the best way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. Great stuff. And everybody definitely take a look at what Steve's got going on. Just watch his matches on YouTube. Look him up on YouTube and watch his matches. One of the best players out there in the game right now. And it's great stuff. And thank you very much, Steve. We appreciate it very much for you taking time out of your schedule to join us. And hope you have a great night.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. And episode 76 was a good one for me. So I'm hoping it was for you as well. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very, very much. And have a good one. Man, another awesome, epic episode. This was great. Another great night.
Totally agree, man. Like, that's the one thing I love about Steve Deakin is that obviously you can tell by the questions that were submitted to him that he's a good sport. He's a fun guy. People like to interact with him. And you can see it out on the court, man. He's got that, like, that passionate spirit about him. And you can tell, but he's also, it's like he's very balanced with it. And he's always trying to, kind of coach his partner up and really stay positive with them. He seems like the kind of guy that everybody would want to be a partner with because, first of all, he's talented as hell and he's got a great positive attitude and he rolls with it. I've never seen him lose it out on the court. I've never seen, a temper flare, anything like that. Like the guy's just always cool and calm and engaged. And I don't know. He's one of my favorite pros to watch out there for sure.
Oh, for sure. I agree. And like I was talking about, the Florida Grand Slam was my first time ever meeting him and seeing him play in person. And it was awesome watching him play. Like his defense was amazing. Like he was returning things that like I would think the point was over and somehow he got to the stuff. And like his defense is, I feel like some of the best in the game. And it's very, very fun, very entertaining to watch him play.
Yeah, there were 2 partnerships that I've seen Steve play with, and fortunately I was able to see them live and I was live streaming them at the same time. And you know how when you're live streaming, you're engaged in these points. And it was him and Wes Gabrielson playing together at the 2019 World Pickleball Championship. They were incredible. If you were going to make a highlights reel from that tournament, I would say that 7 out of the 10 points that you would have on the highlights reel came from when they were out on the court. Those guys were getting everything back in play. I'm pretty sure there was a point where there were eight times where I thought the play was over and they were able to get a paddle on that ball, which was absolutely incredible. And the second partnership was when Steve and Lucy played together at the Florida Grand Slam, which we also were live streaming and got to be, firsthand witness of it. And, we typically don't see Lucy playing with any other male partners other than Matt. So it was kind of a treat to be able to see her playing with somebody different. And you could just tell that they had a really good chemistry out on the court. And I mean, it led to them getting to the gold medal match, and they gave Simone and Ben a run for their money that I was expecting it to be close. I wasn't expecting it to be that close, and they crushed it.
Right. Oh, for sure. Like, I feel like they probably gave Ben and Simone the best run for their money of anybody this year that I can think of.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. I love watching him play. I think the one thing that I'm most impressed with about him is also how fast his hands are. When you see him up at the line,
oh man,
it's like how do you even train for that? I've looked up online different programs and things that you can learn to be able to get fast hands, because I honestly feel like even if I could get 50% of the way there as fast as Steve Deakin's hands are, then my game is just gonna step up to the next level. And the hand-eye coordination, the speed at the line, the confidence, the everything. It's just, I know I'm rambling here, but I'm just so impressed with him and his game, who he is as a person, who he is on the court. That was awesome, man. Huge fan.
Yeah, same here. And I hope he doesn't take offense to this, but like he's older than a lot of the people that are in the current pro pickleball world right now. And he's just as fast as any of the youngest people out there. I mean, it's very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy to watch him play. That was really cool. I can't believe how many pros submitted questions, but I think, again, that's a reflection of how liked and admired he is in the pickleball world right now.
Yeah, exactly. And like we touched on earlier, the fact that he does have a lot of different partners throughout the year, yet constantly they're in the running for the gold medal almost every single time. I mean, that just shows right there that he is an amazing talent.
I agree, man. Real quick, I want to touch on one social media comment that came in, and that was from our friend Laura McLaughlin. Obviously, she wasn't here for the beginning of the show because she wants to wonder what's up with your shirt and the X on it. Lauren, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, obviously, I am dressed in costume for Halloween, and I am Eddie from the Eddie versus Webby 6 video.
And obviously, I am dressed for Halloween as Webby, as just Webby, not from anything specific, just him in general.
That's right. And if you go back and watch the very beginning of the episode, it'll make even more sense because he did the whole, oh, hey, how's it going thing. I did the whole, I'm Eddie thing.
Can I tell you something, though, Webby? I didn't have anything. I forgot that you do a little something before you introduce yourself. And I didn't think of anything, and I literally scrambled as our intro video was playing, and I saw that I had lotion on my desk, and that's the first thing that came to mind. And I quickly realized I should not be doing impressions because I totally butchered Buffalo Bill's voice from what was Silence of the Lambs. So
Silence of the Lambs. I knew what you were going for though. So as long as I feel like as long as people know what you're going for, that's all that matters. And I kid you not, I feel like you played the part of me perfectly because that, no joke, minutes before we start the show is usually when I come up with my intro idea. And I usually scan the room, lock my eyes on something, and I'm like, okay, that's the prop I'm going to use. That's going to be the motivation for my little intro to each episode.
It was funny. It was either lotion or it was measuring tape that I had. And I'm like, I'm going to go with lotion. But yeah, that was...
Well, the lotion worked out perfect. Yeah, isn't it? I for some reason I never think ahead. I never plan out ahead of time that intro part until right before the show. But I feel like the lotion thing, that was perfect. Silence of the Lambs. It's Halloween time. I mean, that seemed very well thought out to me. So kudos to you for thinking on the spot there.
Well, thanks, man. You're being very complimentary tonight, which is funny because I'm very complimentary and you're dressed as me. So that works out well.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. I'm playing the part. I'm a good actor.
That's right. Great show, man. A lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been episode 76, which means there are 76 of you out there still watching. And guess what, Webby?
What?
We love them. Thank you guys for tuning in. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go to dinking around with Eddie and Webby?
No, all I want to say is you definitely want to tune into Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby because we're going to talk about some great stuff. Most notably, this guy over here, Eddie, he was at the PPA Las Vegas event doing the live streaming along with the Jigsaw Health crew. So he's got all the inside dirt. He's got so many behind the scenes things he's going to talk about. It's going to be amazing. But on that note, Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Any, signing off.
See ya.